welcome to today's class, which is called Stretch and Strengthen. Still looking at the fascia, our connective tissue, and doing some nice strengthening moves today. So we're going to start with our feet shoulder width apart and just taking one side, a nice big shoulder roll. Sticking on that one side, noticing how much the rest of your body moves. Then popping the hand on that side on the shoulder and circling the elbow. And now allowing that upper body to move a little bit more from side to side, but keeping the waist downwards, hips quite still. I'm just going to move forwards a little bit. Now same side, whole arm. Take this really nice and slow. And notice how much your shoulders are rotating, your hips, and even your ankles. And see when you come forwards that the other side goes back a little bit, maybe. Nice soft elbow. If it hurts in your shoulder, don't go too crazy. Soften the elbow, go back to the previous movement so the lever's not quite as long. Try and keep your head in the middle. So keep it still as opposed to leaning and swerving from side to side. So I've changed the direction of the arm to come forwards, up and over now. Great, and then pop the hand on the shoulder. Now actively isolate the upper body from the lower body. So keep those hips quite still. And then finishing off with that big shoulder circle, and try and take only the shoulder. So my short sleeve top, I'm trying to move that section of my shoulder, and my arm is just hanging as much as I can. And you've probably got nice and warm around the back of your neck and your shoulders now. So let's swap sides, just the shoulder only. Letting the arm dangle, try not to lift the elbow up, that means you're using more muscles in your arm than we need to. Pop the hand on the shoulder, circle the elbow, gently allow your rib cage. So I feel the most amount of movement around my ribs, in the middle of my torso. Wonderful, and then the straight arm. Same side, going backwards. I'm going a bit fast actually. Keeping the head looking forwards, turning ankles, hips. Noticing how the body works out this movement, and then coming up and over in the reverse direction. Noticing today, how does that shoulder feel? How does your back feel? How do your hips, your knees, your ankles, how is it on this side compared to the other side? Always noticing our symmetry or lack of. And just checking in with how the body is today. And actually, because I'm talking and thinking about, my mind is racing to the next thing, I was allowing my hips to join in a little bit there. I'm keeping my hips, consciously keeping my hips a bit more still now, and trying to get this nice bit of rotation around the rib cage. And then finishing off, I'm going to turn sideways. I want you to see how much that shoulder can move. Remember our shoulder squares that we did recently? Part of the 6 mobility moves to do each day. The shoulders have, on its own, has quite a lot of movement going on there. It's attached to loads of other muscles. It's a really important joint to warm up. Brilliant. Okay, that hopefully will have got you a little bit warm at the back of the neck and the top of the shoulders. So let's just place the hands on the thighs, turn the head from side to side. You could take your circles if you wanted to with the tip of your nose. I'm just turning for the moment. That's all feeling good. I'm going to look up and then gently drop my head down. Being very conscious that you don't go too far with the looking up, and you're not joining in with any part of the rest of your shoulders. If you start to join in on these movements, I'm going to take some circles. If you start to join in, I'm going to close my eyes, otherwise it makes you go a bit dizzy. I'll start again. If you start to join in with your shoulders on these neck circles and stretches and movements of the head and the neck, your hands will move. That's why we've popped the hands on the legs. Couple in each direction. Hopefully that feels quite pleasant, although there might be some squelching and crunching and clunking going on. Brilliant. Let's take our attention to our feet and our hands. We're going to take some foot fists. So if I lift my foot up closer to the camera, imagine my foot's on the floor, my heel is on the floor. It's just a flexed foot, so the heel is staying still. I'm going to scrunch my toes over and really bunch up all the muscles underneath my foot there. I'm struggling with my balance a little bit there. So just standing quite relaxed. Take that heel out, so the heel is on the floor, the standing leg is soft. Scrunch the toes over as much as you can and then lift them and try and spread them. And then I'm doing this with my hands. Do the same thing with your hands. So make a fist, a tight fist with your hands, and you can see me pushing the blood out of the heel of my palm there. And then really lift the fingers, spread the fingers, try and do the same with the toes. It might work, it might not. So some of my clients struggle to actually do this toe curling over thing. Work on it if you can. If it's difficult for you, try and do it. And then we're going to add difficulty here. You're going to scrunch the foot, spread the fingers and the thumbs far apart, and then reverse, swap them over. So the foot is making a fist, the hands are spreading, and then you're swapping. As soon as you start to think about something else, you'll end up doing them both at the same time. Hopefully that hasn't induced any cramp. Let's go to the other side. Get the foot going first. Scrunch those toes over and then lift and try and spread them apart in the same way that we do with our hands. Adding in the hands, making a tight fist. Working on the grip, working on all the smaller muscles, the tendons, the smaller bones. Lots of small, fine bones in our extremities. Great, going opposite. So I'm scrunching the foot, I'm going to spread the fingers and the thumbs and then release. Great, going back to that first leg, take the foot fist again. And this time we're going to lift the leg slightly in the air. Use a bit of support if you need to. This isn't a balance exercise. This is a mobilising, a foot strengthening exercise. It can get quite crampy. Again, I'm just going to bring my foot so it's closer to the camera. So I've made my scrunch and now I'm going to circle, maintaining the scrunch all the way around. When you lift your toes up, you'll want to release them. Both directions, it is quite cramp inducing. But it's amazing for waking up all those muscles underneath your feet. So legs slightly in the air. Just let your lower leg dangle, so there's nothing going on at the knee. A couple of times in each direction. If you can cope with it, but the focus is the foot, and I'm starting to get a little bit crampy, do some sea anemones with the hands at the same time. So let's swap legs. So make a foot fist, use something for balance if you need to. Really try and keep those toes curled under. Woo. Changing direction. So 4 times, alternating direction. Maybe add some sea anemones with the hands if you can. Trying to really go around as big a circle as you can at the ankle. So this would actually probably be better done seated on the floor, but just lifting your leg in the air so that you haven't got to worry about your balance in standing. Great, let's roll that first foot out now. So digging the ball of the foot into the floor, a little bit of a Michael Jackson lean, getting the ankle joint, the top of my sock, the bottom of my leggings, getting that bit to go in as big a circle as you can and as relaxed as possible. Really is the key to it. And sort of massaging out the ball of the foot. hopefully it would feel quite nice, especially if you were feeling a little bit crampy there. Swapping legs. Noticing, as always, is one ankle a little bit tighter than the other? Did one foot cramp up more than the other? Changing direction. Staying as relaxed as possible. So we're pushing into the ball of the foot right now, which is something that we normally do. Change it up to go into the heel of the foot. So pull in those toes up as you did. Apply a little bit of pressure. This is slightly odd. You won't be able to have it anywhere near as much movement in that ankle, but try and roll around that heel bone. And I'm still, you can't quite see it probably from there, but I'm still trying to move and trying to circle around that bone and getting the ankle moving as much as possible, but applying that pressure through the heel bone into the floor. Feels quite nice. Swapping legs. If your ankles are already quite tight, this might be quite difficult. Something to practice, something to think about. Getting all that connective tissue, our plantar fascia, getting all that woken up. Brilliant. Okay, let's go for a push. Breathing out, pushing the arms forwards, round in the back, and a pull, lifting the chest. As I push, I'm bending my knees, rounding my back, tucking my pelvis under, scooping that tummy in, and then when I pull, I'm pinning the elbows back, lifting the chest, looking up a little bit and straightening the legs. Pushing and pulling. So we've already done a little bit of rotation on the thoracic spine. Now we're just getting that rib cage shifting and moving about. Brilliant. Let's take some low figure of 8 with a transfer from side to side. This is about your fascia, your connective tissue. Keep those arms quite low to start with. Keeping them low, we're trying to turn. So I'm turning, I'm following, I'm looking at that back hand as that draws the circle around. It's a figure of 8, but there's sort of a bit of a blip in the middle bit, if that makes sense. I'm trying to turn shoulders, but keep the hips fairly square to the front. Great, same thing, now much bigger. Go down and up and back. I face this way, we're going down and up, looking behind you, down and up, turning, transferring the weight from side to side, which will probably happen quite naturally, don't overthink it. But the movement that I want you to focus on, or not the sort of movement, but the line, from that back hand all the way up there, across your body, spiralling round to the opposite foot. That's where we're trying to reach to, if that makes sense. Trying to get those 2 points almost as far away from each other as possible. Brilliant. Okay, and relax. Let's take a nice wide star position. Toes are slightly out. Reaching up, trying to touch the ceiling, and dropping down into a deep-ish squat, touching elbows to knees, if you can. If that's too much at the moment, you're not quite warm enough, then just go as far as you can. Send that bottom back. So from the side, I'm keeping my chest up. This is what I like about this one. So I'm coming into a deep squat. It's not just a parallel squat. That will be a parallel squat with the thighs pretty much parallel to the floor. I'm dropping down that little bit lower, making sure the knees are going over the toes, making sure there's good symmetry in both legs. Wonderful. Warming up the spine. I'm going to go sideways again. Coming into a sumo squat. This is quite different, position of the legs wise. Our sumo squat is like a braced position, an international, ready for any sports position. I'm braced on my legs, fingers facing in, elbows are out, shoulders are down. The spine from the side is in its natural curves. It's actually probably pretty much the same angle if I go onto my knees. Yeah, if I go to my knees, I'm a little bit lower, but generally a little bit fairly similar angle with the back. But notice how much higher the hips are. For this one, we're going to come into the sumo squat, so we're here. Then we're going to release the spine down to the floor to mobilise the spine. We're going to start from here. The legs are going to stay exactly the same as they are. From here, I want you to think about lengthening your head forwards. Imagine I'm trying to look over the end of my short end of my mat, and I'm lengthening my head. Notice my legs haven't moved, and then I'm relaxing the head all the way down, relaxing the arms down, strongly tucking that tummy in, tight as you can, mobilise the spine, stack the vertebrae one on top of the other to come up to stand. So pause a moment, sumo squat, lengthen forwards, then relax down, relax the arms down, then roll up. Let's do 2 more without stopping, just a little tiny pause here. Be conscious that your legs aren't bending anymore, you're not lowering those hips anymore. Be really conscious of that lovely pelvic tilt on the way back up. Stick the bottom out, lengthen forwards, relax down, rolling up through the spine, so we're just mobilising the spine there. Wonderful. Side bends with an elbow release. Feet just inside your hips, and we're going to start by reaching down the side seam. I was doing this earlier with my client this morning and trying to explain the idea behind this. This gets progressively, the stretch gets progressively more intense. And the idea of initially going over to the side is so that you free up this top elbow, so that you can, top elbow, top shoulder, so that you can start to lift the other arm up. If you stay here and then try and lift the elbow up, which is what we're going to do ultimately, it can't go anywhere because this shoulder's sort of in the way and it's pitched forwards a little bit. So over to the side as much as you can, and then just taking the arm gently and nice and relaxed with that hand up the side seam. When it gets to about bra strap level, middle of your ribs, let go of the side seam of your torso. Just let the arm hang. And then if you can, try and get that elbow nice and high. One more to the other side. Don't get stuck in any of these positions. Elbow as high as you can. This time let's straighten that arm up to the ceiling. Make sure the head is hanging and then we're coming upright. All of this should feel a strong stretch in your side seam. Let the head hang, let the head relax. Try and take that arm nice and straight. This is the advantage of working in front of a mirror or a TV screen as I've got, so I can see what I'm up to. If you might think that your arm is straight, but it's actually going out to the corner. So straight arm up. Now we're going to take it over to the opposite corner, and just that movement from upright to reaching across gives you an extra stretch. It's quite strong. Try and keep your knees slightly soft, but your feet equally weighted. So elbow high, straight arm. There's a stretch already. Adding to the stretch by just letting that arm come across, and even as you come upright, you're using the side seam of the body to come upright. We're going to go all the way down to the floor. So elbow, straight arm, reach across, bend the knees, rolling down. When you're down there, straighten your legs, and then bend one knee, straighten the leg. Bend the other knee, straighten the leg. If you have a look at me, you'll hopefully see, I call this seesaw hips. You're letting the bent leg side, which is this side, this knee is bending, that hip drops, the other one, the leg stays straight, so that hip ends up higher. So we're dropping, so the angle, the hips are going off on a jaunty angle, which we're going to replicate with our arms and our shoulders in a moment. So in an equal amount of those, bend both knees, make sure the head is relaxed, nod the head, shake the head, and then roll up through the spine. Let's do that on the other side. Hopefully you can remember which one you did. So we're over to the side, lifting up that elbow, taking the arm straight up. stretching across, keeping the weight even, bend the knees, relax all the way down. This time, we're going to straighten both legs. You're going to bend one leg, and we're going to lift the elbow up. Have a look at me if you haven't done this before. Lift the elbow up of the straight leg, extend the arm up to the ceiling, and unravel to get to the top. You take a little lasso and then you lower down. I'm going to show you that on the other side. So we're down here, straighten one leg. No, I just did that leg. Straighten the other leg, lift the elbow, rotate those shoulders, extend the arm up and come all the way up to the ceiling and then lasso round. Let's do one of those, let's do 4 of those together. So quite quickly through the first bit, quite, not too quickly, but smoothly. Extend the arm up, reaching over, bend the knees, relax down. Straighten both legs. Think about the hand that you just had up. You're going to bend the other knee, and then you're going to lift that same elbow up towards the ceiling. Look up at it, extend the arm up. Really, 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 really relax your shoulders here. Come all the way up to the top. You will unravel quite naturally. Lasso and down, and then we're going over to the other side. Elbow, straight arm, stretch across, bend the knees, relax down. Straighten both legs. Bend the knee that you had straight last time. Keep the straight leg side, lift that elbow up. It's the same arm you just used. Elbow, straight arm, carry it all the way up. I almost feel like I'm dangling from something that's lifting me up into the sky. Circle around and down. Let's do 1 more of those each side. We're going to stay down this time though. Over to the side, elbow, reaching up, reach across, bend the knees, roll down. This time straighten your legs, bring your palms together, bend one knee again, and this time open up the straight arm to the side. So we're rotating the spine. Straighten that leg, swapping over. If you do class regularly with me, you will be familiar with this movement. So that first movement we did of tilting the pelvis, tilting the hips by bending one knee, we're now taking the shoulders into that same angle and then beyond that angle. An equal amount both sides. Relax in the middle. Roll up through the spine. Let's do 1 of those on the other side. Just for symmetry, bend the knees, rolling down, and this time let's roll back up straight away. We've already done our rotations all the way through. Good job. Okay, excellent. Side bends. Okay, our plie in second. So a strong old groin stretch. Let's take the legs, turn them out and have the heels quite far apart. Turn them out in the hip socket. The goal here is to keep your chest upright, for your knees to go over your toes. It's a very strong stretch in your groin. This is why we're doing it. If you were in class recently, we did the butterfly stretch, where we're sort of putting the legs into this position, but we're on the floor. It's very scary, but once you've done it a couple of times, it's okay. This is the same exact same stretch, just body's in a different position. It's tight. We're going to stay down if you can, and then between your elbow and your wrist, use that area of your forearm to push your knees back. Don't sit on top of your thighs, push your knees back. Breathe, it's tough. And just take a little shift from side to side. Nice deep breathing. Great, take the hands down to the floor. Push the heels out so you've made the legs parallel. Bring the feet in a little bit, heels and toes, heels and toes. Soft knees, roll up through the spine. Great job. So that was stretching the inside thighs, the adductors. Let's now stretch the hamstrings and the back of the hip. Feet parallel. pretty much as wide as you were, hinging from the hip. Put those little fingers in that crease and hinge all the way forwards. Tap your heels. Make sure the weight is pitched forwards on the balls of the feet and then coming up. So today, this doesn't feel too bad. At the beginning of the week, I was quite sore in my hamstrings from training, but today this feels normal. So find your biting point. So we pop the hands on the shoulders, elbows are out to the side. Keep those elbows nice and level, parallel to the floor. Remember to keep the chin tucked in. It's very tempting to lift your chin too much. That means you'll get wrinkles at the back of the neck. Staying here a moment, just finding that hamstring stretch. Maybe bend the knees, straighten the legs. You might want to come all the way upright, just work through it a moment. Brilliant. And then hands down to the floor. We're taking the feet much wider. We're turning the toes out to the corner, turning the legs out to the corner, but not quite as wide as the ballet plie. This is more of an in-between. Just toes going gently to that corner each side. And then we're swapping the weight from side to side. This is again strong adductor stretch, but it stretches lots of things in the legs. Try and relax the ankles and the feet. Breathing. Keeping the weight through your hands. My hands are underneath my shoulders. I'm quite far pitched forwards. If you wanted to work a little bit harder, scoot the hips back a little bit, lift your chest, and here it's much stronger because there's much more load. You've got the whole of your upper body weight going through those legs. That's tough. I'm going to go around to this side by way of a change for the lizard. My feet are pretty much already in the right position. Make sure they're hip width apart and nice and long front and back, so that this front knee is behind or above the ankle. Opposite hand to that front foot goes down to the floor. Nice straight leg at the back. The same arm as that front leg goes forwards, it goes up. There's our rotation. It reaches back. Try not to cut this bit off. I'm looking back towards me, towards my thumb. And then I'm going to tuck the elbow in, the shoulder in, and thread the needle through. So rotation of the spine happens here. This is the obvious one. And then again here. Turn your head as well. Don't just leave your head dangling down, looking forwards. Reach the head through as well. One more of those. All the way back. Stretching through. And if you can, this is where the magic happens. This is the sort of stuff I want you to be able to do quite comfortably. Switch to the other side. Get used to adjusting, wiggling about, moving until you're relatively comfortable. Back straight leg, forwards with that arm, up, and then straight arm behind you, tuck the elbow in, thread the needle through, turn your head. Push back into that heel a little bit when you take that straight arm back, rounding through. One more, here we go. Remember the class is stretch and strength. Definitely covered the stretching side of things so far. Perfect. I'm going to walk my feet in, coming back to face forwards, feet are parallel, nod the head, shake the head, rolling up through the spine, let those arms dangle. We are going to come down to the floor and be on all fours for the next section of class. See you down there.